Hello again everyone, and I've now got myself a nice new breaker bar, so we should be good to get that stuck wheel off now. But first I want to get this axle stand a little bit more to the back of the vehicle, because I just think there's too much weight hanging over the back. That's as close as I could get it really, with the wheel on and the trolley jack under the jacking point. And if I jack it up again, I can get it further under the chassis rail to the back there. Now, as always, I'll remind you that I am not a trained or qualified mechanic. These are not instructional videos, they're just for your entertainment as you watch us trying to keep our 1990 motorhome on the road. If you have any doubts about working in your own vehicle, better to contact a qualified mechanic. Right, now it's time to see if I can ease off those bleed screws. I've given them quite a good soak in the old plus gas, but this one, certainly the first one I've tried, is a little bit stiff. So I'm just going to get a hammer, give it a little tap. Right, well fortunately that wasn't too bad. They both undid after a couple of taps, so I'm hopeful that we'll be okay on that. Right, now let's go and get the bleed kit. I'm actually going to start with this wheel first. You should start with the wheel furthest from the master cylinder. Of course, the master cylinder is right, okay. The master cylinder is on this side of the vehicle, but of course the pipe goes round the outside of the other side, if that makes sense. So I think this is probably the furthest from the master cylinder. Right, now the first thing to do, of course, is to make sure that my reservoir is nicely topped up.
Are you going for a swim?
Not in this, I'm not going for a swim, no. That would be quite nasty.
Swim, we could go for a swim. I need to book it.
Now you have to make sure you're always using a fresh bottle of brake fluid. Don't use the old stuff. It's our wedding anniversary today, so I keep being presented with flowers. Cut off the bushes in the garden.
It's a camellia, it's not just any old bush.
Apparently it's the thing to do on your wedding anniversary, to come out and trim your bush.
Alexander! I'd have you know that this flowers 4 times a year because I do this.
Right.
I've had gardeners, world famous gardeners say to me that's not possible. Well,
You've had world famous gardeners.
No, not world famous.
Congratulate you on your bush.
And gold award winners
Right.
from the RHS and telling me it's not possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, back to the brakes, and the first thing to do.
More interesting.
The first thing to do is to make sure your nipples are clean. Now, I've had a nice bath this morning, so I think we're okay on that front.
What's this with bushes and nipples this morning?
It's what, I don't know. Okay, well, using this is pretty simple. You pop the end of the plastic or the rubbery tube over your nipple, and then you loosen it half a turn with your spanner, pop this clip over the nipple to retain it, and then you can just simply pump the brakes until you've got the required amount of brake fluid flow. There's no more bubbles. I'm going to try and get a decent amount through because I really want to change the whole brake fluid. because I don't know how old it is in here. And then once you're satisfied, you tighten up your nipple again and remove it all. Job done. All the time, of course, you have to be quite mindful of making sure that the brake fluid reservoir is kept topped up. Anyway, let's give it a go. Well, I am expecting to have to go round each wheel more than once. So let's see if we can get more out of the other side. Right, that seems like quite a bit of air out the back brakes, and it seems to be flowing through quite clear now. So now I'm going to put the back wheels on, but only with a couple of bolts, because I might have to take them off again, and then jack up the front, and we'll try and bleed the front.
Who's Jack?
Jack's me mate, gives me a hand. Right, next thing to do is to bleed the front brakes, and one of the reasons I wanted to get both front wheels off at the same time is because you have to bleed the top cylinders of those twin cylinder calipers first, and then the bottom cylinders. So I'm going to start with the top cylinder furthest away from the master cylinder, then the top cylinder on the other side, then the lower cylinder furthest away from master cylinder, then the lowest cylinder the other side. And by the time we've done all that, hopefully we'll have a nice firm brake pedal. If we haven't, we're going to have to go round again. So you can see there's still a few air bubbles in this, and that's what I'm trying to get rid of. So a bit more pumpage, I think. Right, with a bit of luck, we should have a nice firm brake pedal. That doesn't feel too bad. I might just go around and see if I can get a little bit more out. I think I'll just concentrate on the front because I'm pretty confident the backs were clear. Right, well, I think we might be about there. There's a lot of travel on that brake pedal, but it's pretty firm when it gets to the point where it's doing something. So I think I'm going to put it all back together and give it a bit of a road test. So I'm going to pop the little rubber caps back on the bleed nipples, and I'm going to pop the wheels on, pop the airbox back in, and probably won't worry too much about the spare wheel and spare wheel carrier and the leisure battery carrier and everything. Well, I might as well put them back in, because even if we have to bleed the brakes again, I don't need to get to there, do I? So yeah, let's put it all back together again. Well, I've actually thought again, and I am just going to put the starter battery in and give this a little try to see how those brakes feel. I'm not 100 because I can't remember how the pedal felt before because it's so long ago. So yeah, it does feel firm when it gets there, but there's a lot of travel. So I'm wondering if I still need to get a bit more air out. But we'll drop the battery in and see how it feels. Got a bit of tidying up to do first though. Right, there we go, the battery's in and I've just cable tied up the leads for the leisure battery so that they don't flop about. Nikki's made a nice sausage sandwich for lunch, so I'll go and have that and then we'll give it a bit of a test. Right, that's lunchtime over. Let's start her up and give those brakes a quick try. Nah, that's definitely not right. I'm gonna put it up on the ramps and then we'll try breathing the brakes some more. Okay, well the ramps clearly aren't working on the gravel, so we're gonna have to go back to jacking up each wheel in turn, I think. Although, yeah, I think we're gonna have to jack up each wheel in turn. Right, I'm going to try once more with that one-man lead kit. If that don't work, we'll go the old-fashioned way. Oh, that feels much better. Yeah. Right, now let's get her off the axle stands again and maybe try a little drive again. I'll just show you from under here, doesn't it all look rather splendid? Yes, very pleased. Right, let's give it a quick backwards and forwards to check they do work as well as I hope they will. I reckon that's probably about as good as the old Talbot Express type brakes get. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Right, now let's get all the other stuff back into the engine bay. Now George was asking about my leisure battery carrier, and this is it. I assume it's original equipment. I don't know, to be honest. As you can see, it's just a little cradle. It bolts onto the airbox. There's a hole there, and it goes on to this bolt for the air intake, and this bolt, which is one of the mounts for the fan. And the leisure battery just sits in there. I think there's something missing. There's a little peg here. I assume there was like a retaining strap originally that fitted on somehow. That's missing, and I now just secure the battery with a ratchet strap. But there you are, George. That is our leisure battery bracket thing. Right, so the next thing really is to pack away and take it for a bit of a test drive. So there you go, that was a pretty successful test drive, and yeah, the brakes are much improved over how they were with those awful corroded and pitted discs. A bit of an update on the brake line replacements from Coastal Motorhomes. They have now arrived. Obviously now I've got those as spares. I won't be taking off the other brake lines and replacing them with the ones that I've now received, because there would be no point in that really. So I'll keep those as spares. They'll be quite handy, no doubt, at some point. And yeah, very pleased that this little brakes project is now completed, as no doubt are you, and you won't have to suffer any more installments in this little series. So yeah, we're now ready to go off camping. Well, that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. Give the like button a press. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more.